What up, y'all? I wanted to get at you today about how does the narcissist feel in the absence of the empath when the empath or their grade A supply has left or moved on, maybe has left the relationship and discarded themselves, unbeknownst to the narcissist. Whether it is that you ghosted them, or even if or you just had too much. Even if you've been discarded, for instance, because a lot of times the narcissist doesn't know what they're doing and they're very impulsive. So in your absence, and then let's say if you were discarded, in the other cases I don't even have to go over because you discarded yourself. So they're going to, let's say that their new supply or whatever ends very quickly and they didn't expect it to, right? They monkey branched over to their new source of supply they think is going to be their grade A or whatever, their new grade A, or just even a secondary that they're working on. They always feel like they can come back to you. Well, let's say it doesn't last very long, and then it's not what it was all cracked up to be. They get injured real quick and often by this new source of supply that they thought was more empathic than they were and had more to give, and they have a whole lot of lack, and they're just a complete scrub, maybe even playing off the narcissist. And then when they try to come back to you, or if they know they can come back to you because they always have, and then they find that they can't, or if you discarded them and they weren't expecting it, that was unexpected, and they didn't have in preparation enough supply in the background, this is when the narcissist really starts to panic. But you got to understand that the narcissist is never gonna re-idolize you like you were idolized in the very, very beginning. So you'll never get to that same spot ever again, and they usually last shorter and shorter each time. And if they've gotten to know you, then, and they know whatever your core wounds are, or things that you're working on or you need healing from, or some trauma in your life, they know how to play on that really well. But maybe you're waking up, maybe you've got some sense knocked into you, maybe you've had some of your friends, your relatives, or somebody, or maybe you've heard enough, you've had enough, and you've decided this is the end. Well, in their panic state, they will of course try to look for a new source of supply. But this is the thing, it's kind of like this. You always think that you're easily replaceable, but a grade A supply is not, and that's why you're called the grade A supply, because you're an exclusive to this individual, and they're very, very hard to find. They're not very frequently come across, and it takes a lot of work to nail one of these sources of supply down. Sometimes they could be even very much independent and doing very well for themselves, and it may take them a long time to break them down to a point to where they do have that power over them. And then some, it's a little bit easier, but they don't come across the sources of supply very often. And there's a lot of narcissists out there that are fighting for the same source of supply. So it's kind of like you're an exclusive in the world we live in, because there less and less you're seeing sources of supply that are grade A anymore, because of the way that society has been turning up things and promoting the degradation and everything that we have today. So it's kind of like a let's say in a typical movie with an abusive man that has wife or whatever that he treats real bad, and she still sticks around for 20-30 years or whatever, and then she leaves, and finally after like 20 years, it's going to be very hard for that individual to go out and to find somebody that he can take home every night and, either physically or mentally abuse every day. and for them to stick around. You see what I'm saying? And this is kind of like how you got to look at, you know, in some ways, I mean, we have a lot to offer. But you got to look at it kind of like at this, with this point of view. You have to take, you know, they talk about taking the rose-colored glasses off. Well, in this case, you have to take the rose-colored glasses off and look at it for what it is, because not everybody is, you know, physically abused, but there are, you know, especially in the cases of, I would say, women, you know, but the mental abuse, the psychological abuse, and the spiritual abuse is horrendous in itself, and I've experienced enough of that, man, and I know y'all have too. So, but they don't find people that they can, you know, reel in like they reeled in you, and for you to have the empathy and support and give them that love and try to work on things with them, people that are dedicated to them. And the fact of the matter is we should have never done it, but they, you know, these are the core wounds that they see in us before they, you know, have targeted us as well. So, you know, you got to keep in mind that when you get out of one of these relationships, you need to, you know, take your time and heal and go within, you know, and look into your background a lot, hone your intuition, and learn to love yourself, and, you know, and you know, build up the right boundaries and barriers that you need in the love of yourself and the protection of yourself. Because to truly love yourself, you should respect yourself. You got to respect yourself. You got to love yourself to the point to where I guess how you would like to be treated is how you have to expect that. Okay, and if not, if you don't get that, you need to walk, and you got to expect that, you know, an individual is not going to change. However you know, meet them, you got to kind of like what you see. And if you don't, or they don't have everything that you're looking for in an individual, well, you probably need to end it sooner better than later. And that's how you get enmeshed with these individuals that, whether it be you're trying to fix them, help them, you see the two different sides to them, you know. And that's the thing too, when you start seeing and talking about how you're feeling in your heart that there's two different sides to somebody, that's I would say that's kind of a big red flag too, because I was talking about that cognitive dissonance, and, you know, that's kind of where this kind of stuff starts. And if you got to try to figure somebody out, and I understand, like, when you're getting to know somebody, you got to, you know, you're coming from maybe two different worlds, even, but if you got to do a lot of, you know, ruminating and trying to figure somebody out, and this is never good. And because there's lying and confusion if you're doing that. Let's just be honest. But they'll start to panic, and then, you know, they'll start to realize that they can't get that source of supply like they thought, and so they also end up seeing that they lose control over you, as far as, and the narcissist hates to lose control. They do not like losing control. And when you're away from them for a certain period of time, it's like they become almost like a nobody to you, you know, and they don't like that. And it's bad enough that they don't have you for supply, so they're going to be really concerned about that and do whatever it takes to get you back. And like I said, they're going to use all different avenues. They don't like to be looking at you through a secondary set of lenses or a tertiary set of lenses, because you kicked them out of your life. They feel like they're better than that. They felt like they were better than you, like a much better, like they're your God. I mean, in their heart, this is how they feel. I mean, they feel like they're better than, you know, the Almighty is how they say they think in their heart and their mind. And to do that is that's bad business. You don't want to be with somebody like that. But yeah, so they're going to be in that situation. And that the thing is they're kind of intimidated in regards to you when they first meet you, because you're kind of a stand-up individual and you have integrity and you have a lot of good attributes, and they are a complete, lie. And so when they meet you, they do that love bomb thing and everything. They build you up and then they break you down and all that. But during that process, they are actually twisting things and getting you to they're learning you, so to speak, into coming to the understanding that you need them, that they don't need you. They're kind of flipping things because really they need you, but they gotta overcompensate. And so usually what gets, and then later on, it's almost like you don't know which way's up and which way's down, right? And you can be you could become very codependent because of all the push and pull and all the different mechanisms that they play on you. And like I said, at the same time, they don't like the idea of you being out and about, because when you leave them, like I said, you are a source of supply to somebody, and whether it's a healthy relationship or an unhealthy relationship, it doesn't matter to them. They just they want you for themselves, and they don't want you to get caught up with another narcissist, because then they'll take that supply out from under them, and so that's part of something that they're concerned about. And if you think about it, narcissists are always hanging out with a bunch of narcissists, right? They move in like a wolf pack, right? And so you got to keep in mind, they might be concerned that some of their friends might take you out from under them, and they're narcissists too, and so these are things that you got to keep in mind that are going through the narcissist's head, and they'll continue to ruminate on you, and it'll get to a point to where it doesn't matter who they're with. Somebody could supply them, if you're that source of supply, and they may get to a point to where they can't help but continue to think about you. Of course, they try to play things off, but that doesn't mean that what you see is not what you get ever with a narcissist, and so you got to keep in mind, you could give during that time period of them losing their grade A and them making an impulsive move that didn't work out in their favor, and then they realize there's the regret. The narcissist has nothing but regret, because they make a lot of bad decisions. It could be going for a new job that they think is going to be just amazing, and they fed right into it, and then it's like it's crappy. But then the same thing with their sources of supply. They just, a lot of times they have, of course, their pride is through the roof, so there's different things that play into them making these decisions, but we all know that they're kind of like 4-year-olds in adult bodies, because this is when they decided that they were never going to love again, is what they say, right? Whether that pathology is true or not, we don't really know, because it's not really proven. But we do know that they are, they're little 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds in adult bodies. And when they first met you, you were, this shiny new toy. And, a lot of times when they do get you back, it's just like, if real quick, it becomes the same old thing. And it's kind of like, a car. If they have 10 cars, they want that car. But it's just one of the other old cars, they may just want to drive it, once a month or once a year to make sure the thing continues to run right. Maybe give it a tune-up, keep an eye on it, maybe wash it, and then that's it. And it may be their primary car, it may not be. Maybe their secondary car, their tertiary car. They may have a weekend car. You may be their weekend car. You may be their their after work car. You may be their at work car. You could be their vacation car. And this is how you're looked at, you know, to the narcissist. And but it may take them several years to really nail down another source of supply that's really going to take all that brunt of their the damage that they fling and throw at you. And that's why what you see a lot of times is, you know, they end up dying alone. No family, no friends, no relatives, nobody wants to be around them, because they have destroyed everybody, and everybody, by the time they get older, they just continue to get much, much worse. And, you know, project on people, and whatever they're feeling is what they're going to project on to the empath that's with them, their A1 supply, right? And a lot of times it's always overcompensated, so they always project more than what they're feeling, because they want you to feel worse than what they're feeling, you know. And then so that's part of it too. But the thing is when you talk about karma and reaping what you sow, I kind of like to say reaping what you sow, because karma is not right up the alley of what I technically believe in, but it's kind of along the same lines. You guys get the point. But they're reaping what they sow, or their karma or whatever, is one of the things is, you know, when they get older, as they age, you know, they might be a beautiful individual now, or you know, halfway through, you know, the good part of their looks. But the fact of the matter is they have hurt and destroyed and devastated so many individuals in their path, that the wrinkles and their skin and the way what they turn into as they age is much, much worse than you and I. They really degrade in their looks, in their value of their looks. They cannot keep that stuff up, no matter what, because what ends up showing through is their spirit. Their those wrinkles are all the frowns that they've been making behind your back, all of the jealousy and all of the, you know, envy and deceit, and all of that is horrible stuff. And it's not like the narcissist gets away with it. You know, they can't get away with it forever. And, you know, whatever you see is not going to continue. And a lot of times what happens is this stuff really gets them, well, I mean, they have a crappy life anyway. But what happens is it usually really gets them, it bites them in the ass after a certain point in time in their age. And it'll start to roll like you know, like a snowball that just continues to roll downhill and get larger and larger. And this at some point will happen to the narcissist, and it won't be just spiritual. You'll see this stuff manifest physically, in their health, in their finances, in their relationships. You know, they you know, a lot of times, you know, you felt their pain being, you know, around them, right? Because we are empathic individuals. But you've also seen that other side, and when you see it clear enough, you know, you're done, man. And at some point, you just can't play an individual. I mean, some will stay forever, but they're ridiculous. There's some people in these relationships that are completely ridiculous. Like, they truly have allowed themselves to get so broken by the narcissist, and you cannot do that. I mean, but I mean, I've gone far enough myself, but you know, the thing is with them, that's funny. It's not funny, but you never thought you'd go down as far as you did. I mean, this is just not something it's not even common when you think about it in your situation. It's just, it's like, you know, they have seduction and all these kind of spells they cast on you, man. And but like I said, when you wake up, it gets so much better after, you know, a year's time, and you're moving in the right direction, and you'll continually be walking it out in the right way. You just got to continue to block them and know that everything that they touch, that's the thing, everything that they touch and ends up turning to dust. It gets destroyed. It blows up, implodes, explodes, you know. And they do have times in their life where they may seem like they're doing well, but it doesn't last. It just doesn't. And the whole time, the turmoil behind that closed door is horrendous. And and their partner is the brunt to pay, and they're always lying, cheating, stealing, and devastating them, and there's no fruitful future in it for you. I mean, when it talks about building your house on the sand or building it on the rock, I mean, a relationship with the narcissist is as sandy as a relationship can get. As wayward, it could end at any moment, and they have absolutely nothing to give. And the thing is whatever you fell in love with, is them mirroring you back to yourself. I mean, you fell in love in a lot of ways with yourself. Like, you looked that good. So, love yourself, man, and walk in not a stature of being pompous. I always say be prudent. You want to make good decisions based on, assessing situations and having a level head and with your heart and mind and your intuition and your best intentions. But it doesn't mean that you cannot walk with a feeling of security and not having to give up so much. Don't give up so much territory in your life to somebody, and move slow, and pay attention to your body and your mind and your heart and the people around you, and how they are looking, feeling, responding, and acting, and when they're in the presence of you and that individual. But yeah, they will panic, and they will feel a deep regret. But the thing is a lot of times they always think that they can get you back, or it'll just take a little bit more time, or they're kind of very, very much delusional, and they may find sources of supply that can distract them for a month here and a month there, but they're always going to be hoping and wishing they can get you back. But you out. So like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, stand tall, soldier up, peace out, love y'all.